Hey, how's it going? It's your boy Dalton from Caffeine GT coming at you from the garage. And no, I'm not on my lawn chair this time. And don't worry, it's still over there and I still use it and I still enjoy it. It's not going anywhere. But today we're going to talk about something a little bit different than my typical rant or my typical whatever it is that I post. We are going to talk about, for me, the top 5 things that I found surprising about owning a Jaguar F Type R. Let's get into it. The first thing that I found surprising was the attention. Now, granted, I knew getting into it, it was a special car. It's not quite supercar level of status, if you will, but it's pretty special. But I got it in a color that I thought was fairly subdued. Charcoal black. It's not baby blue or bright red or bright yellow. And I thought that, while people might notice it, it would just kind of, sneak through the crowd. Nothing much to see here other than, a decent looking car. That's not the case. I've gotten attention from people that I didn't perceive as car folks. I could be wrong, but the attention for the car has come from everything from little kids all the way up to senior citizens, old ladies, people in between. People in Priuses will stop and take a look at the car. I guess it is that special. And don't get me wrong, it is absolutely a gorgeous car. I think I may be underrated or underestimated how beautiful. I mean, I think it's great, but I don't think that my opinion is the end all be all. Now, I do have a little bit of comparison for that. I formerly owned a 370Z, which I thought was a great looking car and a special driver's car. Sure, they made a lot of them, but short of people who were kind of into JDM or into tuners or into, that kind of scene, it was pretty much invisible to the general public. I mean, I guess, come on, it's a Nissan 370Z. I loved it, but I'm not everybody, right? Another car, BMW Z4M. I thought it was a gorgeous car. It was bright red, it was a roadster, what's not to love? Well, to be honest, that car was extremely polarizing. Either you loved it or you hated it, and the people who loved it would congratulate me in the parking lot on my purchase. Oh my God, is that a BMW Z4M? Is that a real M? They'd go sneak around the back, take a look at it. Wow, yeah, that is, it's got the dual tailpipes and all that, or the quad exhaust and all that kind of stuff. And they'd reach out, shake my hand. That's awesome. On the flip side of that, I was rear-ended in that car 3 times, and the car was hit whilst parked 2 times. Now, that's no coincidence. The times that I was rear-ended, one of them, the driver of the other car hit me and kept his foot on the accelerator pedal. And he was like pushing my car so hard that I actually had to put on the brakes so that his car didn't push my car into the next car. Crazy, right? The F Type R has had no negative issues like that. Everyone who's seen it, everyone who's talked to me about it has been, completely positive, and that, I think, is a good thing. Again, it's not flashy, it doesn't have big spoilers, it doesn't have huge intakes, although the front is kind of neat, but people like it, and I guess that's all right. Thing 2, acceleration. Now, I knew going into this that this car is quick. It was rated at 0 to 60 in 3.8 or 3.5 seconds, depending on which article you read or who you ask. Now, that is a number. That is definitive. That is fast, or at least in my opinion, it is. I didn't expect exactly the sensation of speed that I experienced when I floored it. For some reason, the math in my head said, okay, this car is almost 4,000 pounds, not 3,600 pounds, and I'm rounding up drastically. I mean, right near 4,000 pounds. It is 3,900 pounds and a bunch of change, right? How they got that car to feel and to be so quick is beyond me. Now, I do have a couple of theories. One is aerodynamics. I just happen to have an F Type R model, because yeah, I'm that guy. But it's smooth. You can understand how it would cut through the air. There's not a lot of, not in the way of, downforce and all that, except if you count the little spoiler that goes up at about 70 miles an hour. So it'll cut through the air on its way to 60 miles an hour. Now, the other thing is the gearing. It's got an 8-speed ZF gearbox. And I guess when you have that many gears, you can gear the car in a way to make it accelerate and to conserve gas mileage and to be an all-around great daily driver. And I'll tell you what, that transmission is amazing. It is a torque converter. It's not a true dual clutch transmission, but in the right settings, I'm sure if you tuned it, you can make it shift as hard and as quick as you want to, no problems. The next thing that I found surprising is the sound. It's hot out here, so I'm gonna try to make this segment as quick as possible. But yes, I did read all the reviews and, watched all the review videos about the sound that this car makes, and I was expecting something nice. I've had a 370Z before. I've had a BMW Z4M, a 78 Bronco, which really sounds great. A bunch of different cars, they all had aftermarket exhaust, and I made them sound the way I wanted. But I will say that this car, just out of the factory, is more raucous and raunchy and badass, if you will, than any other car that I've ever experienced as an owner. Now, okay, perhaps if I owned a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something, I might say something different, but that's kind of a different category of car. That's a different stratosphere. Let me start it up for you. So my start button is rubbed away. I really do want to replace that, but it's not a priority. Here we go. As you can see, I'm not even revving it out, and it just sounds amazing. It snaps, it crackles, it pops. It does all the things that you want a car in this category to do. And best of all, if you don't want it to do it, all you have to do is change the modes, take it out of what I like to call mute mode, on, off. And it becomes a car that is perfectly drivable, especially when I'm going to yoga at like 6 in the morning and I don't want to wake up the entire neighborhood. I used to think it was a gimmick to have, valves that made the exhaust quieter. I thought it was kind of cheating. It's not, hardcore, but I'll tell you what, it's great, especially as you get a little more, mature. Okay, I guess we're gonna stay in here just a little bit longer because the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the interior. Now, I got the car with the extended leather package, which means there is just leather everywhere on the doors, on the ceiling, everything almost that you can touch, except for kind of these little areas. It is covered in leather. I've heard mixed reviews about the interior, but I actually really like it, and it's a very ergonomic place to be. So when you're driving, you might be resting your hand against this bar or something, or you might be, shifting, and everything that you need immediate access to is there. You can switch into different modes. You've got your parking brake, which you don't need unless you're parking. You've got your mute button, and one thing that I really like is the handy dandy little volume control, which is right there where you're gonna be anyway, or it's right here where you're gonna be anyway. And the cruise control, it's right here, and you can set it with one push of the button. To me, that's brilliant. And ergonomically, I don't think I've driven a better car. You've got your little parking assist button right here. When you're driving in the garage and it hasn't turned on, you just hit that and it tells you before you run into your tool case. And everybody thinks that analog gauges are a thing of the past and that they're dated and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you what, I'm quite happy with analog gauges. And I really think that they're going to age well. And this does have a little bit of digital infotainment, if you will. It's got it over here. That's all you really need. Well, that's all I really need. So the interior is great. The seats are so adjustable. You've got all kinds of controls. The steering wheel is extremely adjustable as well. Jaguar really thought of everything when it came to this interior. Now, there's a little bit of problem with the adhesion that I had to resolve with the leather on the ceiling, but to me that's secondary. I've heard mixed reviews about the switchgear. I really don't mind it. I'm not that obsessed. All right, the last one is going to be a twofer. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of combine these things, and I'm going to talk about the reliability and the cost of ownership. Now, I can't speak with a lot of authority on that because I've only owned the car for about 5 months, but what I can say is that in that time, and it's only got 27,000 miles on it, so you know, in that time, or is it 29? In that time, it hasn't left me on the road stranded. It hasn't even remotely looked like it wanted to leave me on the road stranded. And I've already changed the oil. Changing the oil is pretty much like any other car, especially the price. It doesn't have any kind of crazy liquid moly 10W40 that you have to special order. I can't remember what it is, but I can leave in the comments, or you can leave in the comments if you know. And I priced out the brakes because I've got to do those soon, and it's nothing crazy. Now, I did get the Steelies, not the carbon ceramics, which I suggest to anybody who's only going to street the car and not track the car, but it stops on a dime. What more do you need? So that's my take on owning an F Type R. It's a great car for everyday commuting, or if it's something that you just want to take out on the weekends and take to car shows. And I'm going to keep this one as long as I can. It's 2015, which means it's got the rear wheel drive only. 2015 is the only year that they did that. I think that's kind of special. Will it be a collector's item? I'm not sure. I plan to put a lot of miles on it, so that will probably destroy the collectability, but I want to drive it. I don't want to look at it. I want to drive it. All right. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, Brands Hatch t-shirt, British. See what I did there? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna try to put out some new content, I don't know, once a week. That's what I'll push for. And I'm gonna cover everything from Formula One to the way cars are going, to older cars that I might be able to test drive depending on who will let me drive them. If you're out there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, let me know. I'm a good driver, I won't crash your stuff. But that's what we're gonna do. Caffeine GT, badass t-shirts, graphic apparel company, stickers, all that kind of stuff, posters, prints. We got it here. We're here for you. And we're looking forward to seeing you next time.